All right, listen up, because this is absolutely massive. If you're collecting a state pension right now, or if you've got parents or grandparents who are, what I'm about to tell you could change everything about their retirement plans. I'm talking about a brand new act that just passed through Parliament, and the ripple effects are going to touch millions of British families. So here's the big question everyone's asking. Are you about to get more money in your pocket, or is this going to make retirement even harder than it already is? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what's happening, who it affects, and what you need to do about it right now. Okay, so here's what's going down. The government has just pushed through what they're calling the Pension Sustainability and Fairness Act 2025. Now, I know government names always sound boring, right? But here's the key. This isn't just another piece of paperwork. This is a complete restructuring of how state pensions work in the UK. According to statements released just last week, the Department for Work and Pensions announced that starting April 2026, the state pension system will undergo what they describe as the most significant reform in a generation. The Secretary of State went on record saying, "We must ensure the long-term viability of our pension system while maintaining our commitment to pensioners." But here's where it gets interesting. Buried deep in the actual text of the bill are clauses about means testing expansion, changes to the triple lock guarantee, and something called a contribution threshold adjustment. Let me break that down in plain English, because that's what really matters for you and your family. The triple lock is being modified, and this is huge. For those who don't know, the triple lock has been the golden promise for years. It means your state pension goes up every year by whichever is highest. Inflation, average earnings growth, or 2.5%. It's been the safety net, the guarantee that pensioners wouldn't fall behind. But here's the catch in the new act, and it's absolutely critical. They're introducing what's called a fiscal sustainability clause. What that means is that in years when the government deficit exceeds a certain threshold, they can temporarily suspend one element of the triple lock. They're not scrapping it entirely, but they're giving themselves an escape hatch. Imagine you're 68 years old, you've worked your entire life, paid your national insurance contributions religiously, and suddenly the rules change. Instead of the 8% increase you were expecting based on wage growth, you only get the 2.5% minimum because the government triggered their escape clause. On a full state pension, that could mean losing out on hundreds of pounds a year, and over a decade of retirement, that's thousands of pounds you'll never see. But wait, there's more. And honestly, this is the part that has a lot of people genuinely worried. The Act introduces expanded means, testing for certain pension top-ups and benefits. Now, the state pension itself isn't means tested. You get it based on your national insurance record, period. But here's the key. They're not touching the base pension yet. What they are doing is means testing things like pension credit, winter fuel payments, and other supplements far more aggressively than before. Here's a real-world example to make this clear. Let's say your mum worked hard her whole life, saved a bit, and has about $50,000 in a private pension pot. Not rich by any means, but she was responsible with her money. Under the old system, she'd still get her winter fuel payment, her TV license covered, all those small supports that add up. Under this new act, those savings could push her over the threshold, and suddenly she loses those benefits. So you've got people who did everything right, who saved, who planned, who were careful with money, and now they're being penalised for it. Meanwhile, someone who spent everything gets the full support package. I'm not saying that's what will happen in every case, but the framework is there, written in black and white, and it's got people seriously concerned. Now here's where things get really technical, but stay with me, because this affects younger workers too, maybe even you watching this right now. The Act changes the minimum number of qualifying years you need for a full state pension. Right now, you need 35 years of national insurance contributions to get the full amount. The new proposal raises that to 40 years. Think about what that actually means for regular people. If you're 30 years old right now, you might need to work 5 extra years to get your full pension entitlement. Or if you had gaps in your work history, maybe you took time off to raise kids, dealt with illness, or were between jobs during the 2008 financial crash, those gaps now hurt you even more. And here's the kicker that nobody's really talking about yet. They are not grandfathering people in. If you've already got 25 years of contributions and you were planning another 10 to hit the 35-year mark, surprise, now you need 15 more years. That potentially pushes your retirement age back or leaves you stuck with a reduced pension for life. Now let's step into speculation territory for a second, because politicians always test the waters. They introduce a small change, watch how people react, and then a few months later, they push something bigger. What if this fiscal sustainability clause becomes the norm? What if every year the government finds a convenient reason to trigger it? Oh, the deficit's too high, or there's an economic emergency. Before you know it, the triple lock becomes meaningless, and pensioners are permanently falling behind inflation, watching their buying power erode year after year. And here's another worrying possibility. What if the means testing creep continues? Right now, they're only targeting supplements and add-ons. But what's to stop a future government from saying, if you've got a private pension over $100,000, you don't really need the full state pension, do you? That might sound extreme, maybe even like fear-mongering, but here's the reality. This act sets the legal precedent to do exactly that. The infrastructure is being put in place right now. Think about the families this affects. Your elderly parents who might need care home support in a few years. Veterans who served their country and were promised a decent retirement in return. Teachers who educated generations of children. Nurses who cared for the sick. Factory workers who built the backbone of this nation. These aren't abstract statistics. These are real people. But here's the crucial point everyone needs to understand. This isn't just about pensioners. It affects the entire economy in ways most people haven't even thought about yet. When pensioners have less money in their pockets, they spend less. That means less money flowing into local businesses and communities. Shops close down, services disappear, and small towns that rely on pensioner spending start to wither. The local cafe, the corner shop, the garden centre, all of them depend on retirees who have the time and money to spend. And what about families caught in the middle of all this? If your parents can't make ends meet on their reduced pension, who steps in? You do. That's money coming straight out of your pocket. That's your kids' inheritance being eaten up to cover basic necessities your parents should be able to afford themselves. That's you potentially choosing between helping your aging parents and saving for your own retirement, which is looking more uncertain by the day. We could be looking at a generation of people in their 40s and 50s crushed by financial pressure from both sides, supporting kids who can't afford to move out and parents who can't survive on government support. It's a financial vice grip, and it's tightening. Now, to be completely fair, the government argues these changes are necessary for the long-term survival of the pension system. They point to demographics. People are living longer, medical advances mean more of us are reaching our 80s and 90s, and the ratio of workers to pensioners is shrinking. They say the system simply isn't sustainable as it stands. And yes, the math doesn't lie. The numbers are challenging. But here's my question. Why are pensioners, the people who've already paid into the system their whole working lives, the ones being asked to fix it? Why not close corporate tax loopholes that let massive companies pay next to nothing? Why not tackle government waste, failed projects, or unnecessary consultancy fees. It feels, once again, like ordinary people are being told to tighten their belts while those at the top remain untouched. So, what can you actually do about it? First, if you're approaching pension age or already claiming, check your national insurance record right now. Don't wait. Make sure you understand exactly where you stand under these new rules. Second, if this affects your parents or grandparents, talk to them. I know it's uncomfortable discussing money, but it's better to plan now than panic later. And third, make your voice heard. Contact your MP. Let them know this matters to you. Write, email, show up at their surgery. Because here's what politicians understand. Pressure works. When enough people push back, they think twice. So, here's my question for you. Do you think these pension changes are fair? Are they a necessary evil to keep the system sustainable for future generations? Or is this just another example of the government balancing the books on the backs of those who can least afford it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from you. Whether you're 25 and worried about your future pension, or 70 and dealing with this right now, let's get a real conversation going, because this affects all of us. And if you found this video useful, if it opened your eyes to what's really happening, please share it with someone who needs to see it. Your parents, your grandparents, your friends who aren't paying attention to this stuff. This is too important to ignore. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to stay updated on changes like this that affect your life and your wallet, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. I'll keep breaking down these policies and explaining what they really mean for people like us. Until next time, stay informed, stay skeptical, and look after each other. Take care.